How was cinema invented? It's shocking to see how big the cinema industry has become today, with revenue projected to reach an astounding $86.1 billion in 2025 and an audience expected to grow to 1.9 billion users by 2029. But have you ever wondered how it all began? After all, everything that's big starts small. So, when and what was the small beginning of this giant industry? The video is going to be very detailed and will cover a lot of things and a lot of people that you probably didn't know about before. So, make sure to watch till the end. Whenever we think about the origins of cinema, it's easy to imagine a grand inventor starting it all with a single idea. But the story stretches back much further and is filled with a lot of twists and turns. Long before Thomas Edison introduced the kinetoscope in 1891, which is often seen as the first motion picture camera, the seeds of cinema had already been planted centuries earlier. It all began with a curious invention called the magic lantern in the 17th century. This device, much like an old-fashioned slide projector, used light to project images through a lens. Though its exact inventor is debated, most stories point to a Dutch scientist named Charles Huygens in the late 1650s. Yes, it's that old. Back then, the magic lantern wasn't used to tell epic stories the way movies do today. Instead, it entertained people in unique and imaginative ways. For example, in Europe during the 1790s, phantasmagoria shows used the magic lantern to create spooky scenes, making them the earliest precursors of today's horror films. Meanwhile, comedic skits like Man Swallowed Rat were big hits with audiences. When the magic lantern finally made its way to the United States in the mid-19th century, it quickly became popular, drawing crowds eager to see moving pictures on a screen. However, it took a long time to improve the magic lantern enough to simulate motion. In 1832, Simon Ritter von Stampfer created the stroboscope, which used spinning discs with drawings to show moving images. During the 1830s, new versions of this idea were created, using the photographic process invented by Louis Daguerre. Franz von Uchatius later used a magic lantern to project the stroboscope images and called it the projecting phenakistoscope. By 1861, Coleman Sellers made the kinematoscope, which mounted photos onto a spinning wheel to create motion. For much of the 19th century, moving pictures were just static photos shown quickly. It wasn't until 1872 that Edward Muybridge used multiple cameras to prove that a horse lifts all four hooves while running. Muybridge created the zoopraxiscope to show his images in motion, and this inspired further inventions like the praxinoscope in 1882. That same year, Etienne Jules Méry built a single camera that could take multiple pictures in 1 second, making it possible to show smoother motion in images. After seeing the work of Muybridge and Méry, Thomas Edison was inspired to explore moving images. In 1888, he decided to create a visual companion to his phonograph, similar to a music video. Around the same time, George Eastman introduced celluloid film for cameras, a concept inspired by Hannibal Goodwin. Edison is often credited as the father of American movies, but he had others help with the work. He hired William Kennedy Laurie Dixon to lead the project, and Dixon invented a camera and projector. Edison, as the employer, took credit for these inventions. So, when Dixon began his work, Louis-Aimé Leprince was already experimenting with motion pictures in England. Leprince created early footage in 1888 using paper negatives, filming in his father-in-law's garden and at Leeds Bridge. However, projecting these negatives was difficult, so he tried using celluloid film. Financial troubles made him plan a trip to New York to show his work, but he mysteriously disappeared in 1890. Meanwhile, Dixon used Eastman's celluloid film to refine motion picture technology. He cut the film into strips, added perforations, and used a stop-motion device to capture images. He then built a motorized box with a light and shutter to display the films, creating what became the first motion picture film. These films, called monkey shines, were made between 1889 and 1890. Though Leprince filmed earlier, Dixon and Edison are credited due to their use of stable celluloid and Edison's fame. A year later, in 1891, Edison and Dixon unveiled the kinetoscope, to the National Federation of Women's Clubs, showcasing a brief clip of Dixon tipping his hat. Around this time, Fred Ott's Sneeze became a significant early film, though it wasn't copyrighted until 1894. The late 19th century saw a fierce competition to patent motion picture technologies. Edison sought control by patenting the basic mechanism of moving cameras, sparking legal battles with rivals. Meanwhile, inventors like Le Prince, Donisthorpe, and others patented their devices, leading to rapid advancements. By 1893, Edison and Dixon had built the Black Maria, the first film studio, where they shot pivotal footage, marking a critical step in the evolution of cinema. So, this was how the early days of cinema began. But what happened next? Well, competition began to push the film industry forward at a rapid pace. Edison responded by opening the first kinetoscope parlors in April 1894. These parlors, offering short peep show clips of vaudeville acts, boxing matches, and more, quickly became a sensation. However, challenges arose as one of Edison's films was censored in July for showing a dancer revealing undergarments, marking the start of film censorship. Despite the initial success, limitations in projecting films on larger screens and competition from innovators aiming for mass viewing systems revealed the kinetoscope's shortcomings. By 1896, interest in the kinetoscope began to decline, signaling the need for new advancements in cinema technology. Then France came into the spotlight with the groundbreaking achievements of Auguste and Louis Lumiere, who revolutionized cinema by creating the first large-screen projected films. Their invention, the cinematograph, debuted in March 1895 as a scientific instrument, but on December 28, 1895, it dazzled a paying audience at the Grand Café in Paris. This event marked the first commercial public exhibition of films, showcasing 10 short movies. The cinematograph was remarkable for being lightweight, hand-cranked, and able to both record motion images and project them onto a large screen using principles similar to the magic lantern. The Lumiere's skillful marketing and innovative approach soon made their short films, known as actualities, a cultural phenomenon across Europe and the US, captivating audiences with simple depictions of daily life. By early 1896, theaters in major cities such as New York, Brussels, and London were packed with eager filmgoers. The Lumieres went on to create over 2,000 experimental films. Then things for cinema went further. Thomas Armat came into the picture and showcased the Phantoscope, a projection machine he co-created with Charles Francis Jenkins at an event in Georgia in September 1895. Learning of this invention, Thomas Edison struck a deal with Armat and Jenkins to manufacture a similar machine under his name, which he called the Vitascope. The Vitascope debuted in New York City on April 23, 1896, with a program that was financially successful but lacked the same audience excitement as the Lumiere's films. One standout film, A Rough Sea at Dover, managed to grab attention, causing some viewers to react with amazement. Soon after, Edison transitioned from using his Black Maria studio to sending filmmakers out to capture real-life scenes, much like the Lumieres and other innovators of the time. Although films were still experimental and seen as novelties, the availability of the cinematograph and the Vitascope led to the opening of theaters across Europe and the US. This was the beginning of the film industry as we know it today. With time, the popularity of movies increased, captivating audiences across the US and Europe in 1896. Crowds flocked to theaters to witness the magic of new projection devices like the Idolscope, cinematograph, and Vitascope, as inventors raced to develop cutting-edge technology to meet public demand. This booming interest increased competition and even legal battles among inventors and nations. New York City became a key place for film innovation. While theaters saw popularity in cities like Paris and London, filmmakers started trying new techniques, such as Emile Reynaud's animated images. Companies like Vitagraph became important, producing films inspired by vaudeville shows and even creating war-themed scenes during the Spanish-American War, though some were more like propaganda. Edison faced tough competition from rivals like Biograph, which improved film quality under William Dixon. Meanwhile, the Lumieres, early leaders in cinema, couldn't keep their success in the US and stopped making films by the early 1900s. By this time, the film industry had firmly taken off, preparing for its rapid growth in the years ahead. So, this was everything about how cinema evolved from its very beginning to becoming the huge industry that it is today. It was just a simple entertainment tool at first, but with the advancements of technology and experimentation by many pioneers, it has become one of the most popular forms of art and storytelling in the world. Let us know in the comments below if you knew all this about cinema before. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.